Hi there and welcome. Yesterday, we took a look at primitive data types, and we mentioned that there were 7 different primitives. Well, there is one more data type, the object. Essentially, everything else that doesn't fall under any one of these 7 primitive data types is an object data type. Object data types allow the creation of complex data structures that can form a collection of elements. It's important to know that objects are stored by reference in memory. If we declare a variable, then assign the object to the variable, we are assigning the reference to that object, not the object itself. And also, objects are mutable, so you can change them. Some commonly used objects include plain objects, arrays, functions, regular expressions, date, map, set, error, and promises. Let's take a look at some objects. So a plain object is a collection of key-value pairings. Keys can be strings or symbols, and the value can be just about anything. We can write one like so by using curly brackets, then inside we'll have the key followed by a colon, and then the value associated to it. To make another one, we'd use a comma to separate one key-value pair from another. Then we can follow the same steps as before. On to arrays. So arrays are an ordered collection of data. In JavaScript, elements in the array do not need to be of the same type, like in some other languages. We can write one by using square brackets, then we can place elements inside the array and using commas to separate between elements. Because they are ordered, you can access elements at specific indices. However, arrays are zero-based, so to access the first element, you would want the element at index 0. To get the second element, you would want the element at index 1, and so on. For instance, in the array we just wrote, if I do array of 0, I can access the first string. Functions are also objects. They are reusable blocks of code that are considered first-class citizens in JavaScript, and they can be assigned to variables. One way we can declare a function is by using the function keyword followed by a name, parentheses, and curly brackets. The inside of the curly brackets is known as the function body, and we can add a code snippet inside of here. When we want to run the code inside of the function block, I can call the function by writing the name followed by the parentheses, just like this. On to date objects. So date objects are used to represent a moment in time and contain a value in milliseconds since January 1st, 1970, which was epoch time. We can write one by using the new keyword followed by the date constructor, and this will create a new instance of the date object with the current time at which the constructor function was executed. There are methods that can be used to format dates nicely. Next are maps. Maps are objects which are similar to plain objects, but they allow for keys to be of any type, and they maintain the order of insertion. To create one, use the new keyword to create a new instance of the map object, then call the map constructor. To add a key-value pairing, we can use the set method, and we'll first pass our key, followed by our value. Moving on to sets. So sets are a collection of unique values. These are similar to arrays, however, there cannot be duplicates in a set. So we have an array here, and this array does contain some duplicates. Let's create a set by using the new keyword, followed by the set constructor function. This will give us a new instance of the set object. We can pass the array we just created into the set constructor, and if we log the results, we'll see that there are only unique values in the set. Next, we have error objects. Error objects represent an error. When something goes wrong, JavaScript will throw an error which will contain a message of what went wrong. You can create a new error object as well, and we can do so by using the new keyword followed by the error constructor. You can pass in a message into the error constructor for what you want the message to be when this error condition is signaled. You can also use the throw keyword to signal an error condition. On to promises. A promise is an object that handles asynchronous operations. It's like a real-life promise, and it represents the eventual completion or failure of the operation. Promises have 3 states, and those are fulfilled, pending, and rejected. When creating promises, a function is provided to the promise, which is known as the executor function. It is called immediately and accepts 2 arguments. First, the resolve function, which is what you call upon a successful completion of an async operation, and secondly, a reject function, which you'd call in the case of a failure. Here, in the simple example, we will call the resolve function, so the promise will be fulfilled. With a successfully fulfilled promise, we can use the then method, which accepts a callback. The callback receives the resolved value, and then we can log the result of the promise. Lastly, regular expressions. These are used to create an identifiable pattern in strings. Now, there are some regex wizards out there, and it's really cool to see their code. I am not one of them, but I can show you how to make a simple example. Over here, we have some text that we'll want to search. We can declare a pattern variable and use the new keyword followed by the regex constructor to make a new instance of the object. As arguments, we'll first pass in the pattern we're looking for, which will be cat, and then as a second argument, we'll pass I to indicate that the casing of the letters doesn't matter. Now we have our pattern. We can use the test method and pass the text that we want to test. If the pattern is in the text, then we will log true. Otherwise, we'll log false. All right, we covered quite a few different objects, and that concludes part 1 of the objects video. Please stay tuned and watch tomorrow's video where we'll go over some theoretical questions as well as some coding-based questions. Thanks and have a great day.